And welcome to the We Like Sportz Show. I'm your host, Ed in Columbus, with my guys, Keith Allen and CJ in Cleveland. But what is this? What is this? I see a guy wearing 49ers gear. What is up, my guy? Ted Talks Ball is here with us today. Ted, how's it going?
Can't complain, Ed. How are you doing today?
Well, you know what they say, two Eds are better than one, but you throw a T in there, and we got a great show here today. And, so your 49ers, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show, because the NFL is the king of all sports. And your team has been on the upper threshold of that kingdom for the past couple of years. What is this, their fourth championship game in the last 5 years?
That's right. We missed, we went obviously to the Super Bowl in 2019. 2020 was COVID season. We had record-setting injuries, the most injuries of any team since 2012. Didn't make the playoffs. And then, NFC Championship after the 21 season, after the 22 season. We lost, of course, both of those to the Rams and then to the Eagles. Eagles one gets a little bit of an asterisk because Purdy hurt his elbow on the third play. And, people say, oh, well, you couldn't win with the backup. It's like, well, Josh Johnson wasn't our backup. Purdy was our third string. Josh Johnson was our fourth string quarterback. And I'm honestly convinced that if we had known that Jimmy G and Trey Lance really wouldn't be able to play, we would have done a better job of finding somebody better than Josh Johnson. But Trey Lance ended up having revision surgery well after Jimmy G got injured. And there was lingering hope that Jimmy G might be ready to play in the NFC Championship game and or the Super Bowl that year.
Now, Ted, I've done my homework on you a little bit. I went and saw some of your clips and your shows, and you remind me of myself a little bit. You are a no-nonsense guy that can go on some rants sometimes, so I appreciate that. But I saw a couple rants. I think that one of them you went off about, it's not you don't win the ring. There's a couple about Trey Lance. There's a couple talks in there. So you are unabashed when it comes to your tone and what you have to say, and I appreciate you. But so this 49ers team, you come back after a heartbreaking loss against the Eagles. It was heartbreaking, the fact that you lost, but once Purdy went down, it was pretty much over with, considering with the cast of characters you had at quarterback after that. But so how satisfying, or would you say, because I always felt like this when the Cavs were in it, the regular season was just one of those things you want to just get to the playoffs. Has it kind of been like that with the 49ers? Like, you're good enough in the regular season. Don't get too injured. Don't get too hurt. And the real season starts, because you guys are a team that obviously it's Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah, it's Super Bowl or bust, but there were definitely some games I circled before, when the schedule came out. And there were 3 games, obviously, with all the Super Bowl contenders from 2022. So Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, Cincinnati Bengals. And then just slightly below that was obviously we played the Seahawks twice. The Rams surprised me. I didn't think they were going to be as good as they turned out to be this season. But the Ravens, were a team that I knew looked difficult. And even in the offseason, I predicted a loss against them, because we were negative 20 rest days this season, which is worst in the NFL. And Ravens were plus 9 rest days, which was fourth best. There were 3 teams at plus 12 rest days: the the Jets, the Bears, and there was one other team. And then the Ravens were fourth with plus 9. So by Christmas Day, they were almost 29 rest days ahead of us during that short season. It's a huge advantage. I'll tell you, though, that was before the season I said that. Most of the season I said that. Somehow by the week of the game, I talked myself into picking the 49ers. And boy, was that egg on my face. I predicted a very close game, but obviously it wasn't very close. The Ravens just trounced us in that game.
What do you see? Obviously, you had the Lions, obviously, in the NFC Championship game. I mean, I don't want to, put, you guys in the Super Bowl. But I will say one thing. I think that you guys, obviously, the clear-cut favorites to beat the Lions. Jared Goff 0-5 against the 49ers all time. What would it take for the Lions to beat the 49ers?
For the Lions to beat the 49ers, well, I think, if Deebo Samuel doesn't play, that's definitely would lower my expectations for the 49ers quite a bit. The one thing I will say about Deebo is losing him in game is much more painful than if we don't practice with him all week and someone else gets those reps, like Ray McLeod or Juwan Jennings, or even I'm blanking on his name now, the wide receiver who had the big catch towards the end of the game. He was on our practice squad. I thought he might make the 53-man roster. He played well during camp. And I'm blanking on his name. He's a journeyman, fast, tall receiver. But bottom line is
Conley.
Thank you, Conley. Yes.
Look at you, CJ. Look at you. And I also want to give a shout out to Paul Hope out there. You obviously got a fan club. Ted's a big deal out there. Ted is the man.
Paul's part of 49ers Faithful UK. I have their flag up here. He and Lee Gallen, Paul's the vice president, Lee Gallen's the president. They actually came out to the States, 36 Brits came across the pond all the way out to the Bay Area for the Bucks game. And I was lucky to be one of 4 Yanks that were allowed to join them in their section. And so it was a lot of fun. Got to meet them all live. I got to see Paul see his first ever NFL touchdown live. It was Christian McCaffrey. It was in our end zone, and he was wearing the Christian McCaffrey jersey. So it was really, really cool to, because, it was like an old 53-year-old fan. Yeah. I've been watching the Niners since 76. I've been seeing live touchdowns at the stick since the early 80s, and to see someone really take it in for their first time, it's really special. See him pop his cherry, if you will, whatever you want to call
we love our mother country, and I always say this: the sun never sets on the British Empire. I do.
That's right. That's right. They're vast, no doubt about it. So we were talking about Debo. We're talking about so my basic point was that Kyle really like if he doesn't play this week, it won't be as painful as losing him last week, where we had literally practiced for 2 weeks straight with him taking all the reps. And then all of a sudden you're in the game and somebody trying to fill in and they haven't taken any reps. There, not only is there obviously a talent drop off, but then there's just the knowledge drop off. And so losing Debo wouldn't hurt quite as bad this week, but that'd be one thing that would be a disadvantage for us. I would say if it rains again, that would be a big problem. I've been saying ever since we played you guys in Cleveland that Brock Purdy is probably a fair weather quarterback. I hate to say it. But I really, after the Browns game, I remembered being at the Seahawks wildcard game at Levi's, and it rained in the first half, and then in the second half, the sun came out and it dried up, and Brock torched him. And it's like, geez, this like exactly illustrates how he doesn't play well with the wet ball. We saw it in Cleveland, and now we just saw it in Green Bay. And the funny thing was that ever since the Browns game, we didn't have any really rain games, which is pretty amazing. Consider I think 9 of the 11 games we played were in outdoor stadiums, so it's pretty wild that this time of year that's the first time it popped up again.
Is Brock Purdy? I get into arguments all the time because I think obviously a Kyle Shanahan quarterback. They always want to say it's the system, and with
it
Brock
is.
Purdy, I think it is too. But I still think there's something special about Brock Purdy. What are the qualities that you
both
see
can be
him?
true? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's still the best we've had in San Francisco, and the best that Kyle's had, other than maybe 2016 Matt Ryan. You could make an argument that Matt Ryan was a little bit better because they passed it a little bit more. We ran it a little bit more, but the statistics are eerily similar between the 2 seasons. Other than that, the total yards are almost the same. And we weren't the number 1 offense this year the way they were that year, but I think we're top 3 or 4. Purdy, I'm not gonna call him a system quarterback because he is really good at the 10 to 19 yard throws. He was 80% last year and maybe higher than that this year, which is insane. And then the big thing is this year, he's really started nailing those deep throws. He had the highest completion percentage on deep throws, but so did Jimmy G in 2019. So if you only throw a little bit, that doesn't mean much.
Right.
Brock threw quite a bit, and they were nice looking. And that was my big knock on him. And I said in the offseason, I called him mid. I was really harsh on him. I said that he, I was always positive on his, between the ears, like saying that he was a mental giant. I just said that I wish that he had a elite physical trait other than quickness, because he is really, really quick, but he's not fast. He's not tall. He doesn't have a big arm. So all the things you kind of look for in your franchise QB, but I'm starting to believe he really can be our franchise QB. I don't know about paying him 50, 60 million a year yet, but luckily we don't have to decide. We literally can't pay him until the end of the 2024 season. So we have at least another year to get some more of an idea of how we want to move forward. But, as far as how does Detroit win? People say that we have a pick your poison offense, right? If you take away CMC, then Debo and Kittle and Ayuk kill you, and vice versa. But the way you deal with a poisonous snake is you cut off its head. So if you can put pressure on Purdy, even though he was one of the best against pressure, you saw that last week that Purdy and Jordan Love were two of the best versus the blitz and versus pressure. They were both top 3. One was 2-3 and one was 1-3 against pressure and the blitz this season. But our O-line can be had. We started Feliciano at right guard for the Green Bay Packer game, and I asked for that during my preview article, and so I was really happy. I didn't want Burford in there. He may have a promising future, but now's not the time for player development. Feliciano had played better, but we still have McKivitz in there at right tackle. He's a weak spot. And as much as we like Purdy's, between the ears, his poise, his ability to stay focused downfield when all hell's breaking loose, like it's great until he gets hurt, right? Or until he gets sacked for a big loss or fumbles, strip sacked, and those type of things. So it's like the thing we love, but it's also the thing that personally scares me to death is his poise, because it happened it's happened several times this season and again against the Packers where somebody came off that right edge, Purdy's looking left, and he doesn't feel the pass rush. And so that's a good thing if he gets it off in time, but obviously a bad thing if he doesn't. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But Green Bay, the Lions have a great offensive line. They've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. They got Laporta. They got Jahmyr Gibbs. You got Reynolds, who is like the security blanket for Goff coming over from the Rams. And then J-Mo, who's like kind of the young speedster coming up after that, injury that slowed him down in his progression. So there's a lot to like on, they're probably the best offensive line in football, certainly the best one remaining in the playoffs, up there with I'd say the Eagles and the Cowboys, and you guys, when healthy, I think the Browns are right in that conversation as well too. So that's on offense. On defense, obviously Hutchinson's really coming on lately. He's just a monster. He's kind of what Bosa has looked like the last few years, but Bosa had his holdout this year and hasn't been himself this season yet. Hopefully he'll uncork it here for the last couple of games. But they've got Hutchinson, obviously Aleem McNeil. They've got that rookie linebacker that they drafted in the first round who's been coming on of late. And then obviously CJ Gardner-Johnson on the back end. I gave Eagles fans a lot of grief for letting him go, for letting TJ Edwards go. We saw what he did in Chicago, and obviously for letting Hargrave go, especially letting him go to us. They're better, division.
Has he been worth the money for you guys? Tribal. Do you feel like you're getting a good return on investment with him this year?
Not probably. No, I mean, not, what do we pay him? 19 million? Probably not quite that much, but here's the deal. When you have Eric Armstead, who they're both kind of like half tackles, really, right? Eric Armstead's great against the run, not much of a pass rusher. Hargrave's just the perfect complement to that because he's great pass rusher and not great against the run. So it's what we needed. So from that perspective, yes, but I mean, our O-line, our D-line is the highest paid in the NFL, and I don't think it's the best, and I don't think it's as much better as it should be. Chase Young, he's a big name, but there's not much to him. I will say against the Packers, he did stop that tush push with Jordan Love. So that was huge. So good for him. But, I'm still going to say he's overrated. People are basing him off of his Ohio State career.
Hey, I'm a Buckeye, so I fell in love. But hey, you're right. I can't. He's
after coming after Joey and Nick, and they just expected him to be the next thing. And I don't think he would have been even without the ACL. Then he had the ACL, and and there's when we got him, some Commanders fans were telling me oh, by the way, he goes for personal glory and not a team player. So keep that in mind. We've seen that a little bit. I saw it against the Ravens, where he took a little bit of a deep pass rush. Like when you play Lamar, you got to mush rush. You gotta never go past the quarterback. And even when you get to his level, you got to wait for friends to get there and get him fully surrounded. Then everybody pounce and go for the sack. And Chase Young went around back and he almost got him, but he didn't get him. And Lamar leaked out to left and had his biggest run of the game. And then I accused him of it a second time in that game against the Ravens, but it wasn't actually him. It was Cleveland Farrell off the right edge. Lamar leaked out, and that time he hit Aguilar in the end zone. But bottom line is, he is not what everybody thinks he is. We have two kind of half tackles, and Bosa hasn't really been what he's been in 2021 or 2022 yet this season. Well, there's little glimpses here and there, but I'll tell you one thing he has done a lot this season is a lot of false starts. That's been very frustrating. So, and then, I think special teams between these two teams are kind of similar. We both have good punters, and don't trust our kickers. As you remember,
Jake Moody, Michigan,
against you guys. He missed 2 field goals, including the game winner, because Purdy, everybody talks about this as Purdy's first game-winning drive. Bull, man. He had a game-winning drive against Cleveland, and Moody just missed the field goal. So, he's actually done it twice in my eyes. But Moody is an interesting story because he was perfect before that. He missed one against the Vikings, and he was perfect again up to the Rams, and then he missed a field goal and an extra point. And it's sad because we were driving the field, and I thought, oh, maybe he'll get a chance for the game-winning field goal. It could help his confidence. But, Sam Darnold fumbled the ball away, and no chance for him to pump up that confidence going to the playoffs. The bottom line, he was kind of perfect in these 2 stretches. But I will say, I said it both times, and it holds true even more now. They didn't look good, and people say, oh, well, there's no pictures on the box score, right? And I kind of, as long as it goes in, who cares? But, if they're just shaving in, it's kind of like when you're throwing all these interceptable balls. So throwing balls to all these defenders and they're dropping them, they're going to catch them.
Right. It catches up eventually.
And that's sort of what happened to Purdy against the Ravens. He had a lot of interceptable balls last season and early this season that weren't caught. And all of a sudden against the Ravens, 3 tip balls get intercepted when tip balls, I'm pretty sure I've been told it's like 3 or 4% get intercepted. So to have 3, intercepted, including one of them, the defender came through Kittle. It was an uncalled DPI. So, there's that too. So I do, feel more confident if we do end up against the Ravens again in the Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to be easy against Detroit. I think they have a really solid team. I think, maybe their secondary, their corners might be an area of weakness for us to exploit. But in general, they have a really solid team. They're young. And Goff, if you protect him, he's good. We've seen, I think people look at the Niners record against Goff and they forget that the Rams didn't have as good of a O-line as what and I don't think they had as good as weapons, honestly, either. They had Cup, but it just, I think Amon-Ra is a monster, and same with Laporta, and Jahmyr Gibbs if he's not as good as CMC, he's just one teeny rung below. I said the same thing about last week, Aaron Jones too. I think Aaron Jones is right in that next tier as well. They're all phenomenal backs.
So it sounds like you're saying to me now, being a Browns fan, we have not woke up on a Sunday morning with a chance to go to the Super Bowl since January of 1990. Okay, and so obviously, I can tell by what you're saying. It seems like so you're kind of hinting maybe that on Sunday in the Bay Area, you guys will be celebrating a chance to be in the Super Bowl. Is that what you're? If all things go according to what's been?
Yeah, I would take us on the money line.
I would take fair enough.
Absolutely, yeah.
I
probably a few points. I said earlier I thought 7 points was a little bit too much, but but a lot depends on Debo. If Debo's healthy, that might be about right. I was thinking 6 or 5, but. Bottom line is I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be close. It's just with good weather, you're going to see a different Purdy. You're going to see what we saw season when he led the league and all these stats. And like I said, even if Debo's out, we have a whole week to prepare for it rather than having it happen in game. A lot of it's just Kyle's play calling, more than anything else to adjust to it. And I would hope that if we do that we would let CMC do some of Debo's duties and put in freaking Elijah Mitchell. We have a great running back who never fumbles. He's no CMC, but boy, he's a lot closer to CMC than anyone else is, than trying to, be CMC being Debo. So,
gotcha.
Anyway.
Well, Keith, you got a question.
Yeah. What concerns you? What concerns do you have heading into Sunday's game against Detroit?
Yeah, what would be your biggest one? Like, this cannot happen. This, if you see something kind of trending this way, this is going to be a little bit more tighter than I'd anticipated.
Well, Ambry Thomas playing like he did against the Packers. He had 3 massive give ups. He was sinking our ship. Ambry Thomas was terrible. I'd like to see Jair Brown, the rookie safety, in there instead of Logan Ryan. But either one is a concern. They both make, rookies are going to make rookie mistakes, but at least he's a little faster and he hits hard and he can help better in the runs fit. What else? I mean, Dre Greenlaw getting a penalty or 2, for unnecessary roughness, face mask, suplex, late hit out of bounds. Right. I love it. It's a lot like Purdy. It's what we love about him, but it's also can scare you to death at the same time. And just the Detroit Lions O-line manhandling our kind of overrated D-line. It's not bad. It's not a bad D-line. It's just not as good as it looks on paper.
Now, I've noticed, or I've read, I've watched a few 49ers games. I'm not going to say that, that's why we got you here, Ted. But is it not true that Shanahan's got Purdy more in the shotgun this year than what he usually has him in? Is that because he trusts him to win games more or pass out of third down? Because, with the Shanahan offense, it's more, play action, this or that. But it seems like Purdy's been behind in the shotgun lately. And, it's kind of fun to watch him kind of just dissect defenses.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Yes, I mean, he trusts Purdy to do everything, unlike any quarterback we've had here.
He had Johnny Manziel. Do you think he ever trusted Johnny?
No, heck no. Didn't trust Johnny. He didn't trust Jimmy. He didn't trust Trey Lance. Certainly not CJ, Beathard, and Mullins. But he trusts him to do everything. He trusts him to do the right thing. It scares me a little bit just because our offensive line isn't built to pass block. Most of them, their strength is run blocking, especially Trent Williams. I guess our center and our right tackle now are kind of more pass blockers than run blockers, McKivitz and Brendel. But Banks is a better run blocker, and I'm pretty sure Feliciano is too.
Go ahead, Keith. Go ahead.
What is the status of Debo Samuel?
Yeah, what is his? You said he might be able.
He's going to play. He's going to play. Just Kyle won't say it until
gamesmanship.
Well, I think his thing is I think you make sure that they waste half their reps practicing against not playing Debo. And so at least that's the idea, I don't think they're probably too fooled that Debo's going to play, but in such a big game, but you never know. I could be wrong, but it's not, everything I'm hearing is it's not as bad as the last time because we hear the shoulder against you guys in Cleveland.
Yes. That's why we won.
It's so many crazy parallels between the two games, the rain, Debo out early with the shoulder, Moody missing kicks. I guess he didn't miss against Green Bay. It was blocked, but somebody, one of my co-hosts was saying, it looked like it was going to miss before it got blocked. And I was like, I didn't really, I have no opinion on that. I didn't really see that one way or the other, but I thought that was an interesting comment. But yeah, there were so many parallels between the two games. The big thing was Trent Williams, wasn't playing on one leg like he was against y'all. And CMC, didn't leave with the oblique. And so we got it out the win. But I have no doubts if those two guys had gone down the same way, we would have lost to Green Bay too, of course. They're a really solid team. Jordan Love's a great quarterback. Their defense may not be that great, but, rain is kind of an equalizer too in those kind of situations. So, but mostly against Purdy. I mean, he came out wearing a damn glove at the beginning of the game. I'm like, all the time people are like, Teddy doesn't have a problem in the rain. I'm like, come on, it couldn't be more obvious. He's trying to throw out the glove, and then I think he got good grip on the ball because he threw a nice laser spiral. But I think what can happen is when you get a grip on the ball, then you can't ungrip it, and then you kind of hook it, and you don't really know where it's gonna release. And so that's what it seemed like because he threw one right to one of the defenders, and as off as he was during the game, we never saw that. Maybe I shouldn't say never. There was at least 2 during the game. So, but not nearly as often as it did there early with the glove on. So he ditched the glove pretty quickly, and the rain kind of stopped again. That was the other difference.
Yeah, it was coming down and then stopped.
Coming down, stopped, and then and so when he led the game-winning drive, it wasn't raining that hard. And then guess what?
Imagine how that works.
Got the ball back. The sky opened up. It reminded me of us against the Bears with Trey Lance in Chicago. And everyone's like, oh, it was the same for everybody. And I'm like, no way. It was
not necessarily.
Thing at the end of that game. It was like puddles 3 inches deep. They had to put the numbers in black so they didn't even show up because the white chalk wouldn't show through the water. So it was crazy. Yeah. Anyway, it wasn't quite that bad. But I mean, as a fair fan, I will say I would be bummed if I was a Green Bay fan and like Purdy gets good weather to go down and get the not good, but better weather. And definitely there was a downpour when Jordan Love had the ball out.
I always tell my kids this. Sometimes God plays favorites. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. It's all right. So, but I know. Oh, go ahead, Keith.
Now, let me ask you this, because there's been a lot of talk of whether Purdy is a franchise quarterback or is he a game manager? Which best describes Purdy?
Yeah, if you had to give one,
I mean, before the Green Bay game, I would have said franchise, but I can't have a franchise QB in San Francisco who can't play in the rain. And we're not the rainiest spot, in the NFL by any stretch, but it rains enough. I can't have a franchise QB who can't play in the rain. So I guess he can't.
Super Bowl champion Brock Purdy. Does that change things though?
I mean, did it for Nick Foles? I don't know.
Well, that's true.
And I think Purdy's better than Nick Foles.
That's fair.
Don't get me wrong. I think he's better than Trent Dilfer or Brad Johnson or Jim McMahon or any of those guys. But maybe more like Eli Manning. I don't know,
It's not, what? As long as you win championships, doesn't really matter as a fan. I mean, but we know you got your show coming up, but there was a couple things. I wanted to get a quick prediction from you. And then I got my one question for you is Rice-A-Roni really the San Francisco treat?
I mean, it's all right. It's no. I mean, in San Francisco, I mean, we have so many different kinds of food, but my favorite food that I miss, like I used to live in the city and I moved south down on the peninsula, kind of between San Francisco and San Jose. And what I really miss from San Francisco is the Thai food, the fabulous Thai food, curries, really good fresh seafood. In the peninsula, it doesn't have.
I wasn't going to mention the Golden State Warriors, but then you talk about curry. I wasn't going to do that. I see what you did there. So what? Okay, so what do you got for the score here? Because I think you're going to.
I said 31-24. That's assuming that Debo plays.
Okay, 31-24.
I don't think we break 30 without Debo. I think we would have to have a better defensive effort.
Yeah, I think it's too much for now. I don't know what the score is going to be, but I think you guys win by 10. I think you guys win by 10.
I hope so. That would be great. We'd cover then, because they say good teams win and great teams cover, right? So
that's true. But Ted, you've been an awesome guest. Tell everybody where they can find you at, because I always like to tell my people, plug your stuff, because that's what it's all about here.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's right here at TedH6 on Twitter and X, and Ted Talks Ball on YouTube. I'm on Instagram and Facebook too, but YouTube and Twitter are the better places to follow me. So I do that for older friends that can't get with the new technology. That type of stuff. My parents and grandparents and stuff like that.
That's awesome. Ted, you've been an awesome guest. Hey, you know what? Yeah. If you're 49ers, I should say when, but if they win the Super Bowl, I'm going to have you back on, and you can pop champagne or do whatever you want to do, because in Cleveland, you don't really get much to celebrate. So I don't mind seeing others celebrate. I'm not going to lie. I have no ill will towards anybody else. And like my mom said, you guys beat the Broncos really badly in a Super Bowl that the Browns could have been in. So we appreciate that.
There you go. Well, I was definitely rooting for you guys against the Texans, even though I liked D'Amico and I like CJ Stroud. I thought he was going to be better than Bryce Young. I thought the Browns had a cool story. I thought you guys had a great defense. I kind of thought it was you guys and the Ravens that we had to worry the most about. So better luck next year. I bet you guys will be back.
It's always the Cleveland that gets in the way of us winning, I feel. I don't know if it's jinxed. It's always the Cleveland. I don't know. So, but you guys don't have that problem.
It does until it doesn't. That's all what I always say.
That's right. Good. Well, thanks,
and we've
Ted.
been 29 years, so a lot of these young Niner fans don't know any better either. So I always say that I'm, super impressed by them because at least I have the 5 rings. I watched them all live. I went to all 5 parades. It's a lot for, it makes it easier for me to hang in there through the struggles compared to these younger kids. Like, I don't know how they do it. So hats off to them.
Oh, they might not.
You guys
might not have to
I have
wait
a lot of
too long.
respect for the Browns and the Lions fans because they've done it, and neither team's ever been there before. And I just hope this isn't the Detroit Lions year. I mean, I get it why everybody's rooting for them to beat us. We're kind of the evil empire this year. Wow. And I'm like, hey, I'm fine. We can play. I don't mind playing spoiler, but
you know what? Beat their butts. Here's why. If Detroit wins the Super Bowl, it goes to one before Cleveland does. It just makes me feel even worse. So
there you
just
go.
do what
so,
you
right,
gotta
so we
do.
got some fans in
there.
Cleveland. Yes.
Do your thing.
So they show this map and it's like all blue except for California. You really know that even then it's like just Northern California's reds. The Rams aren't room for the Niners. I guarantee you that, especially after they've been lording it over us that we haven't won in 29 years. Last time they wanted us to win one 2 years later. So, all right. Well, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no doubt.
It's been a real pleasure, and I'm happy to come back on anytime.
Awesome.
But you just let me know. And
all right,
also, if you want to come to TED Talks Ball, we can do that too.
All right. Got to return the favor. Awesome, Ted. And congratulations on the success of the 49ers. And you got a couple more to go to win the Lombardi. And hopefully we'll talk to you after. Maybe you guys get it.
Yeah, I'll just say peace and go Niners.
Go Niners. Well, wasn't that fun having somebody on that can celebrate a team that's still in the football tournament, as the old folks say. And CJ, you know what? He knows his stuff, and it kind of hurts a little bit because when you talk about the Browns, we can't talk so glowingly. There's problems, there's infighting, there's this, there's that. We're not playing in a championship game. So what, CJ? I haven't heard your voice. You got a lovely voice.
There's a lot going on with the
Ted, man, he was just on a roll.
Yeah, tell me something, CJ. Tell me something.
I don't know. I it's weird because like you hear. It's like the Niners, you don't think of like a team with these problems. And like, to me, like I think Brock Purdy's like good. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's like the second coming of like Tom Brady or anything, though, but I don't think he's like a bum like people make him out to be. But it's weird to like as like we do it with Watson, like they do it with Purdy. Like, you know what I mean? Like they gotta create like this goofy ass narrative. Like, oh, they gotta argue about something. It's weird, like all the NFL teams have, like we're not the only ones. Yeah. I think we're a little more dysfunctional, like historically at the top. But I think we're starting to figure things out. The firing of everybody on the offensive side of the ball, I guess.
Except O'Shea.
Yeah, that caught me off guard.
How did he survive?
I'm curious to see what they'll do with OC. I think Stefanski might give him a play calling. But, I get Stump Mitchell getting fired. I understand that. He's old, and like I thought that was just the weakness of the team was the running backs. But I think it would be interesting. But unless Kevin gives a play calling, it's not really going to matter.
Who do you think they're going to? Facebook user. Who do you think they're going to hire?
Yeah, that's Sean. That's Sean.
Is that Sean? Shout out, Sean. Okay, shout out, Sean.
What's up, Sean?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I want somebody that has good Watson ties, so I'm not going to lie. I think Kevin needs to understand that, just like Ohio State did with bringing in Bill O'Brien, Ryan Day, bringing him in.
I don't get that move.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
I saw somebody. They well, yeah, you're good. I got a point about that I saw.
Okay. All right, we got a plan. But
I think interesting about Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's not exactly weird hire, but I'll take it.
I just saw something that was interesting. It just reminded me that.
I think like I said,
Watson, I don't know what they're gonna do. Yeah, I think it's got to be somebody with Watson ties. Yeah.
Could be Bennett, the enemy.
I really don't want the enemy. I thought the Commanders looked like shit all year. Oh, I did. You didn't think they were good? You thought they were good, Ken?
How? Look, they scored. They put points up. They just couldn't stop anybody.
You're gonna put up points when you're losing. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I like the identity that we have with Nick Chubb, but Nick Chubb's not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
Coming off a torn ACL and MCL,
Right.
I would like to see more of that vertical passing game. like we saw with Flacco. I think that's like, we had the Texans dude on, the one in the chamber guy. I can't remember his name. But like, he talked about like, we're used to seeing Watson chuck it deep. So like if we can get some more vertical passing, but I also don't think we really have the receivers for that. Cooper's not a burner. I think they'll probably cut Elijah Moore.
I got to do this. Otherwise, if we don't get into it now, but we could use. We could use some more Dubby. That's right. If you want an energy drink that you can mix at home that doesn't give you the jitters or make you crash, then try Dubby. Their products have no calories, no sugar, no maltodextrin. Like I said, don't know what it is, but they don't have it. That's good. No fillers, no artificial colors. Dubby has great flavors such as Dragonade, Galaxy Grenade, Beach and Peach, and Dub Sludge. So head on over to Dubby.gg and use the coupon code We Like Sportz to get 10% off.
You head on over to Dubby.gg.
Also,
it's every ad you're going to see. Dubby ads. I've been getting them crazy.
You want to do that also, CJ? The Snooze You Lose. Don't forget to check out the Snooze You Lose podcast with Uncle Joe, the Black Bookie. That's right. He'll get you set for your Sunday Snooze You Lose pay of the week. So who doesn't want to add more coin to their man purse or regular purse?
Is he the one? If you saw $100 bill on the ground.
Oh, we're gonna get there, but we're gonna get. Oh, you want to get there? Okay, yeah, that's right. You want to win some money with my bookie, absolutely. Because you know what? If you found $100 bill on the ground, you wouldn't walk past it. So don't pass up a chance with easy cash at my bookie. My bookie has the biggest online selection of odds and contests to fill your sports betting needs anytime, anywhere. So you can turn that sports knowledge into cash in your wallet. But on the NFL, college football games that are they're over with, but you can still do that next year or play for a share of big cash prizes. Blackjack tournaments. It's if you've been waiting for the right time to get in on the action, the time is now. Make your winning move today. Sign up at MyBookie. Use the promo code SPORTS. That's sports with a Z. And you can claim your deposit match redeemable up to $1,000. So you want to do that. So bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. So thank you, CJ. And also, too, we always have to give ourselves some love at We Like Sportz. So WeLikeSportsPC.com. Check out the website. Almost 100,000 hits in our first initial year last year. So congratulations. Yeah. And so
we're on pace for, I think, 600,000 last I checked.
Close to 1 million. I heard, yeah. And also check us out on X at We Like Sportz PC as well. So and also,
just Google We Like Sportz PC. We pop up. Find us anywhere.
We're big.
Yeah.
And
we're on the internet.
Yeah, and also too, guys, this is what Peyton wants to get out here. You know what? Follow us, the We Like Sportz Show on YouTube, because a free jersey giveaway when we reach 500 subscribers, and not those cheap China jerseys that will turn yellow if you buy a Browns jersey like I did with my Brandon Whedon. These are real deal jerseys.
Brandon Whedon.
Your Brandon Whedon jersey turned yellow.
Oh
yeah, the stripes turn yellow. The stripes turn yellow.
You gotta rock a Whedon jersey for me.
Well,
you still got it?
I still have it. Maybe I'll bust it out next show.
Yeah. Oh my God, I gotta see it.
You want to do? Yeah, I don't want to do that. But you know what? Also, Sean says hi, guys. Hi, Sean. We like Sean.
No, that's Teddy Payne. That's Miss Teddy Payne.
I don't see the
Facebook user. Yeah, this is Sean, Joe America.
Because it's coming. It's coming from the Locked On Sports group. Because
shout out to the Locked On Sports group that I've. Yeah, it's been a fun year. Keith and I, we throw it down.
Yes,
it's fun stuff. But you know what, guys? Since this is, CJ, I see that yawn. But today's a big day. It's New Hampshire. They're voting. Votes are being cast and everything. But we got something going on here too.
In 2024 and beyond, don't forget to tune in to
so we're gonna have the great debate. Oh yeah,
the We Like Sportz Show presents to you the Great Debate.
That's right. It's that time for the great debate. And you know what? I jumped in last week, but we got Keith versus CJ. We got a classic rivalry going on today. And I'm going to actually play by the rules this time. And CJ called me out last time. And I may have been incorrect when I kind of asserted that somebody was going to take a position. Because like I say, the great debate's great because I will give a topic and then you guys will decide yourselves on what position you want to take.
Okay.
All right, so I think we'll go into this one because we had our 49ers guy on and we can talk more about it. But so the question is, Brock Purdy is a franchise quarterback. So CJ, since I broke the rules last time, you can have that any way you want it.
All right, yeah, I'll say he's not.
Okay, well then go ahead. You have a minute and a half to tell me why. Tell the audience.
I just don't think he is. Like, to me, like, I feel like franchise quarterback's like an elite group, right? Like Lamar is a franchise quarterback, Burrow's a franchise, Allen. And I just Brock Purdy's not in that category. There's nothing wrong with that. I think he's a good quarterback, but like I just don't think he's a franchise quarterback. There wouldn't be at this moment. There wouldn't still be these questions. You don't have questions about franchise guys. That's part of the reason why Watson. There's we argue about Watson all the time. Every week we're on here. People are out here, calling for Joe Flacco. And is it the system? Yeah, it could be, but that's part of Kyle Shanahan being a good coach. Listening to the 49ers guy talk, he pretty much talked about everything, but Brock Purdy's going to come in and be consistent, write it up. Jared Goff feels like a franchise quarterback in Detroit, right? To me, there's nothing about Brock Purdy. Like when they win, it feels like at times they're winning in spite of him, right? Like I thought he looked so bad against Green Bay. And I'm on this like train of like I am a bit of like a Purdy defender, but like to me, like a franchise guy, you're paying excess of $35, $40 million. That the Niners got to pay Brock Purdy that much money. I don't think the Niners will pay Brock Purdy that much money. And if they got to, they're not going to be getting back to the NFC Championship because they're not going to have McCaffrey and Debo and Ayuk and Trent Williams and Nick Bosa and all the Fred Warner, all these other elite players around him. Those are franchise guys. I think he's probably like the fifth most important dude on that offense.
Okay, well that's good. And shout out here. We were talking about Watson, so talking about some plays too. So shout out to that. Keith, obviously you have to take the position of Brock Purdy is a franchise quarterback. Like I said, you may agree with it, you may not too, but for the great debate, you got to show us what you got with that. So take it and run with it, my guy.
He is a franchise quarterback. Oh shit!
That's so convincing, right there. Oh shit!
This is the beauty of the great debate. Sometimes somebody just wins.
It's like throw the white flag up. Throw the white flag up.
Man, throw the white flag. I can't.
Okay, all right.
But like that's the thing. I think he's good.
He's good, but like I can't consider him a franchise because think about this, and this is why you could now before the Niners 3-game losing streak. When everybody got hurt and went out, if he would have carried them to at least 2 victories out of those 3 losses, I would have considered him a franchise guy. And but he is a franchise guy in one way. He's cheap right now.
Well, that was your best argument.
I think he's like the guy right now for them.
He's the guy. He's cheap. He ain't costing no money, and they can maintain Debo, McCaffrey, Fred Warner, Trent Williams. They can pay all these guys right now. Now, when Brock Purdy start asking for some change, I think will remain to be seen. That's all I got.
I think it's like the eye test too. He just, when they win, he looks good. But when they lose, it's like, all right, it's clearly Purdy's fault. Like he'll play like shit and they'll lose. I think it's like this, right? Do you think Baker's a franchise guy in Tampa Bay? Like these are like the same type of questions you got to ask yourself.
Yeah, that's
and I think he's kind of like in that like next up tier, kind of like how people used to think of Kirk Cousins. Like he gives me like mad Kirk Cousins vibes. Like I think Kirk Cousins now is like an MVP candidate. Like Kirk Cousins is a franchise guy. I just don't think Brock's a franchise guy.
Shocked the world right here. I think obviously CJ, you won the argument, but you know what? I love controversy. The fact that Keith said, "Oh shit," threw the white flag up. And I do this. I gotta give him a point in a game that really has scoring for what purpose? I don't know. We're gonna figure that out as we go along.
We have a standing sport.
Yeah, I don't know. But here's also too before we get to the next one. They don't want Ken Dorsey here. I don't want Ken Dorsey in Cleveland, to be honest.
I don't want Ken Dorsey either.
I don't know who I want. Like to me, I don't really care because I think Kevin's just gonna call the plays. Like
I think. Go ahead, CJ. Go ahead.
I just think Kevin's gonna, and I think part of it is he's gonna give up plays. But in the back of my head, like he's been so stubborn. I'm like, I call the plays. I can't imagine him giving it up now. There was a name I saw, and I think it would make sense. It's Clinton Kubiak.
I think after that 45-14, the people up in the front office wasn't too happy.
I think you're right.
I think somebody has to kind of be the guy like you point at, and like I look like out like to me, and that's why I said like Stump Mitchell made sense, right? I thought the run game was terrible this year, and like then you got to ask yourself like, what the hell was Alex Van Pelt doing here? Like, what is the point of him being here? So if they want to get somebody in, they're going to bring somebody that's a little more hands on in the offense. All for it, I like hiring smart guys.
I think if they get an established name, he's calling the plays.
Yeah, he could. That's why I don't know what direction. It seems to be like there's been no smoke here. I like bringing Tommy Reese in. I think, Tommy Reese is a good guy. He's smart. He did a great job in Notre Dame. He did a solid job at Bama. Bring in like a fresh, even if they said like he's going to be a tight ends coach, but he's also going to be involved with some more aspects of the offense. I just, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't have like an idea.
But my biggest question is, how in the hell did Todd O'Shea survive?
Yeah.
And the wide receivers we done drafted the last 3 years in a row have all been trash.
I can't remember the Browns. We haven't felt like we've hit on a receiver since.
Somebody in
Josh
Berea
Gordon
has maybe messed around with some farm animals, and O'Shea's got some pictures. That's the only thing I can think of.
I do. I think the wide receivers, like David Bell, he showed a little bit at the end, and I think that gave me enough like fuck it, this Elijah Moore thing didn't work out. Like let's just let David Bell be, Elijah Moore. And Cedric Tillman showed some flashes, but I think he's super inconsistent. I'd love to see them get a guy in the second round, but like I also, you don't want to be like the Lions used to be and just keep throwing picks at wide receivers. But it only takes one to hit.
And you can find them because think about it. Nakua went in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Puka.
I'd love to get my boy McConkey.
Yeah.
I think McConkey could be a fit in here alongside Cooper and Bell and Tillman. You can play inside, you play outside. Cooper can slide in the slot a little bit. I think he would be a good fit.
Back to the great debate, because I got this topic and I just kind of came up with it just now. It kind of came to my head, so I'm really excited about this one. But Keith, I will throw this topic out to you, and then I will let you decide because I gave CJ the.
Okay.
Are the Browns are just as close to a Super Bowl as they were after the 2020 season, and that was the season that they obviously made the playoffs and beat Pittsburgh and everything. Are they closer now? Or are they about the same? Yeah, so you have to say they're closer or not. So basically, are they yes or no to that question? Are the Browns closer to a Super Bowl than they were after 2020?
I would say they're not.
Well, tell the audience why.
This is why. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, and now CJ Stroud.
I love that answer. I love that name, I should
say. And if Harbaugh goes to the Chargers, Justin Herbert. And I forgot about one more, Josh Allen. And think about this. Josh Allen then balled out in the playoffs the last couple of years, but he can't get past Mahomes. So they're not closer. They're not. Wow. This might have been the year of opportunity because everything was abnormal, but they're not closer. They're not closer. Deshaun Watson will have to ball out and more. But at the same time, with Deshaun Watson having to ball out, the Browns got to go fully in for Deshaun. Because like CJ said, they need some more wide receivers.
Yeah.
And they need another running back, too. Because we don't know if Chubb's going to be ready in September. He might not be ready till October or November. Because he just had another major surgery in November. So I would say they're not closer.
Okay. Well, that's a strong indictment on the Cleveland Browns. And I think from what I'm hearing is the AFC just got a lot tougher and you got some more cats to go through to get to the Super Bowl. CJ, why now your position is the Browns are closer than after the Baker 2020 season?
Yeah, unfortunately, that is my position.
no white flags either this time, CJ. Fight through it.
Okay,
Fight.
here's the thing, right? I feel like I do feel good about us, though. I think the defense is figuring things out. I think that, like, the numbers were kind of skewed a little bit. I do feel like the road games felt like they came later in the year, and it felt like we were much more banged up on defense. So you give me that healthy defense, and I just feel like we're a couple pieces away. I feel like our secondary is elite. Between Thornhill and Delbert, and you got Emerson, Newsom, Ward. Like, those are all, like, the numbers indicate that Martin Emerson is an elite corner. I know he's a little grabby, but JOK is a man possessed. We didn't have a guy like that on defense in 2020. Miles is taking steps. We're really spending on the defense, and we're starting to fill in some of those holes. Alvin Tomlinson is better than anybody we had in 2020 on defense. Zadarius Smith had a great year, and I feel like those guys dipped off a little bit at the end when Garrett got banged up, and we couldn't overcome some things. I feel like with this defense, we're so close. I do think that it was overrated and got exposed a little bit at the end. But having Schwartz back, taking over Joe Woods any day, leading us into a season, I just feel good about the defense. Like I said, offense, we talk about wants. Health is the concern with me. I think, like I said, off vibes. I mean, the offense looked amazing when he was out there. That Arizona game we cooked, Baltimore. That's the last time we seen him was Baltimore. I mean, that Baltimore game, it left you feeling good after that second half. He's the last guy to beat Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So I do feel good about Watson. There's some, concerns about, like, cap space and whatnot. But, offensively, like I said, I thought Keith had a good point. We need to get a wide receiver, and we need it, but that's, what draft and free agency's for. And, you got to trust Andrew Berry and that scouting department. We just went to the playoffs and won 11 games with, five different, I don't count this, 4 different quarterbacks. I'll call it 4. I'm not going to just, 4 different quarterbacks.
That was not necessary.
And we looked great with freaking Joe Flacco, and that looked like these are some things that, Watson would do in Houston. I feel good about where we're going.
Okay. Well, that's a quality response, and I just want to say this. I thought both of you brought it with your answers. I like Keith's angle on it. It's more or less, the conference as being the tougher, thing to judge it against. And then CJ, I like your point about, with the Watson aspect.
I feel like we're a part of that top level, though, like, as a team. I feel like, you look at the teams, Cincinnati is going to lose T. Higgins. Like, he's gone. They're not going to be able to keep it together forever. The Chargers are in cap hell. I actually had a thought with the Chargers today. If I was San Diego, would I trade Herbert for 1-9 to Chicago? Who says no? If you can get both their picks, you can draft a Caleb Williams and maybe a Brock Bowers. You got Keenan Allen out there. Well, Mike Williams. That's an interesting offense.
CJ, I like it.
But, like, it's an interesting. I think Herbert's kind of a loser. Kansas City, how long are they going to be able to keep this run together? I mean, I think they're going to be really good for a long time. As long as you got Mahomes, they're going to be in it.
I think Baltimore's got young receivers and Lamar. They scare me.
I feel like it's a question mark because Lamar, the last 2 years, he's always one awkward landing away from being out with some of those other guys.
Watson's like one hit always away too.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what it kind of feels. But I just think that the league is in an interesting place in the AFC.
Fair enough. Well, I want to thank both of you fine, distinguished gentlemen for participating in the great debate this week. I'm actually going to give it this a tie. Like, I think overall your performances, I don't think there's any runaway. I thought you both presented your positions, whether you wanted to or not, those positions in a way that makes you fine Americans. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to another rousing edition of the Great Debate. And remember this, guys, everybody, whether you're debating sports or politics or anything like that, go out there and vote. And when it comes to us, subscribe. So that's what you want to do. So go out and do that. Be good Americans that way. So thank you guys for participating in that. That's always fun. And we'll bring it back next week because you know what? There's not always a primary every week. I think South Carolina is 3 weeks away after New Hampshire today. But every week on the We Like Sportz Show, we keep going. So that's what we're going to do all the way in 2024 here. So that was fun. That was fun, guys. Yeah,
So
participating
who we
in
picked?
democracy.
Lions. We got picks for the AFC for the championship
Yeah,
weekend.
but first, I have to fuck up break-ed news. So we gotta do that first.
Yeah. No, you got it. I believe in you.
You
today.
Before I do it, CJ, am I gonna fuck it up?
You're gonna fuck it up. No, I'm gonna say you're good. You got it today. There's no pressure.
All right, well, here we go. This is Eddie Columbus with your We Like Sportz break-ed news. That's right. Cavs forward Tristan Thompson has been suspended for 25 games by the NBA for violating the league's anti-drug program. This is the harshest penalty Thompson's had since he got caught cheating on Khloe Kardashian. She made him wait a week before he could tear that ass up again. Hey, now. The Ohio State Buckeyes continue to spend NIL bucks on transfers, while the Cleveland Guardians continue to guard their bucks by doing nothing. And finally, Cleveland Browns general manager Andrew Berry held a press conference in which he said it's a 10-year plan with regards to Deshaun Watson. The organization is thinking long-term, while Watson is thinking about his next massage appointment. Just remember, Deshaun, bring your own towel. And this is Eddie Columbus with your We Like Sportz break-ed news.
Yep.
C plus. C plus.
Yeah, the one was funny. I fall back to the Guardians every time people mention it, man. Who do you want them to get?
I know.
Who are they supposed to spend on?
CJ, I have to make jokes about them.
No, but it's beating a dead horse.
It's the low-hanging fruit, and I'm going to eat it.
It is. Speaking of great debate, did you see what Sherrod Brown said?
No,
Sherrod Brown's up for re-election. He was like, talked about Dolan donating so much money to Matt Dolan.
Yeah.
He was like, God forbid he spend that money on a power-hitting right fielder.
Right.
Like, that's my vote.
Well, you know what? No offense to Dolan, because it's funny because I always say this, Dolan and Dolan or whatever like that. But in the Republican primary, remember this, guys. It's going to be not Bernie Kosar, but Bernie Moreno, because he's the Trump guy. So I think that hey, Dolan, don't worry about it. You won't have to be spending money much longer after March. Okay, so don't worry about it.
He didn't spend money before March.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, I look at this class. We've been doing it a lot.
That's why we're going to free whatever. This is our time to talk shit.
There's just nothing for the spend. I just it's getting under me. Because there's certain moves I wish they didn't make. I'm still angry about Nolan Jones getting traded. Just a bitter man.
Why is it, CJ, that the Guardians just cannot develop any hitters?
I feel like part of it is just who they get. They seem to be so attracted to middle infielders.
Yeah.
Listen, I go back to the Nolan Jones thing. I was very upset when they traded Nolan Jones. Because, for so long, all we heard about was, Nolan Jones is going to be a third baseman. Nolan Jones is going to be a third baseman. And then, we give up. And I feel like that's part of it. We got these guys, and it just seems to be there's always somebody in front of them. We just, it's never an outfield prospect.
Right.
When they do come up, they're always these super, I don't want to say super, but hyper flawed prospects. Will Brennan, hyper flawed, no power. Bradley Zimmer strikes out a bunch. So they're just all flawed. I was wrong about Clint Frazier, though. I'll say that. I thought Clint Frazier was I thought that was a mistake.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. All right, so championship weekends. What's the predicts?
Oh, yeah, okay, championship. Okay, awesome. I think I'm not we had Ted on, 49ers guy. Got to go with the 49ers. I 31-21 over the Lions, and then the Ravens, and obviously I got to go with them. I think home field matters with them. They play better. That defense is it's ferocious in M&T Bank Stadium. Lamar Jackson, this is his year. Like Keith was talking about it, if it's not this year, when is it? I felt that way about the Michigan football team this year. If it wasn't this year, they got it done. I think it's a hardball year. I think the Ravens will be in the Super Bowl against the 49ers.
Fade Ned. Yeah, I think it's going to be Lions Chiefs. I've been big on the Chiefs because I think this shit is just so rigged that we're going to get Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and that confetti. I think Chiefs will win the Super Bowl. I think it's just rigged. I think Andy Reid retires after it too. Reckless speculation. But I think Detroit. I think Detroit is playing Detroit looks fucking good on every face of the ball.
They're not playing at home though. That's the problem.
Yeah, but I feel like they travel. I feel like there's something about Dan Campbell. I feel like
they travel well this year.
Well, that started with they won that Green Bay game at Green Bay, that last game of the regular season or whatever like that. They won that game.
They won that Kansas City opening night too.
Yeah.
And think about it, Detroit is more
or whatever it was.
And if you look at Detroit during the season, they're more susceptible to lose at home than they are on the road.
What I like about Detroit is I feel like their style of football travels because
that's kneecap biting football, right there.
Like we're gonna run the ball and fucking drop our nuts on you all game. Yeah. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna we're gonna go for fourth down. We probably shouldn't. We're gonna do all kinds of crazy shit. I feel like a guy like that matched up against Shanahan, who seems like such a tactician. I feel like that's gonna fuck with him a little bit because, like, at times Kyle overthinks. I go back to when they talked about the Browns. If Kevin Stefanski would have, you remember the Browns-Niners game? Before we got the ball back, the Niners came up. They threw the ball 3 times.
Yeah,
and it's just like they killed the clock for it. They didn't kill the clock. So I just when we look at like something like that, I do. I feel really good about Detroit. There's something about them. And for Kansas City, the thing I'm loving is that defense, man. Those guys are getting after it. And I feel like, Baltimore, I feel like it's just the run game can't be Lamar. And I feel like that's all they got left. The run game is Lamar.
All right. So you got the Chiefs. Okay, Keith, who you got?
I got the Ravens. I think Kansas City's run comes to an end this week. People hollered at us, said, when I shared the clip on YouTube, all the Kansas City fans was hollering.
Okay.
I hope they had that same energy after Sunday.
Yeah, they were.
Lamar holds that Lamar Hunt trophy or whatever trophy it is for the AFC.
Yeah, this is Lamar Hunt, for the the Hallis trophy is for the.
I just feel that it's the Ravens' year. Because like I said, if they don't win it this year, when is you going to beat Kansas City? Because Kansas City might be an improved edition of itself next year. Because trust and believe, they're going to have another receiver to go with Rice next year. It ain't going to be the band of characters that they got now. So, and Kansas City defense is lights out. But the main difference with Baltimore as opposed to Kansas City, all Baltimore's linebackers are healthy. The only thing they're missing is, I don't know if Marlon Humphrey's going to play, but Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, it's going to be a difference. And Baltimore can reach out and touch Mahomes like they was reaching out and touching C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, that's
there's just something about, Kansas City feels different this year to me. And I'm not really sure why. I just feel like
because they're winning differently. They're winning with defense.
They're winning
at the end of the day, right? And that's the thing, right? They're winning differently.
Yep.
Because they know how to win.
Yeah, winning. Yes, it's still winning though, but that's the thing.
Yeah, but as I'm saying, they know how to win. Yeah. They know they've been here before. Like he said about Lamar, like I listen. I love Lamar. I do. I think Lamar's fucking awesome. But
is he more awesome than me?
No, how can that's impossible.
That's true. Thank you.
How can I at the end of the day, it's like Mahomes has become Brady. Like you don't bet against Tom Brady. You don't bet against Mahomes. Yep. And they're getting points.
Yeah.
I need your help.
And also, okay.
Who is this? We're getting all these comments, and I love comments.
Yeah, that's Sean Hall. That's Sean
all right,
Hall.
Sean.
Yeah, the Browns got to go out and hire a defensive lineman coach. They got to have some new blood with experiences. Re-signing some players on offense, they're going to get other weapons to help Cooper, Chubb, and Watson out.
They need to.
And also, the Browns got to get a Mike linebacker.
They got to get a linebacker in general. I like Steely Taki, but he can't be in the middle. Like, look, Anthony Walker, when he's out there,
JOK, baby.
But JOK plays too much like a fucking wild man.
Yeah, he ain't gonna be in the middle.
Give me somebody that's in that middle that can hold shit down for us. I don't even got a name. That might be something I try to look for. See somebody they could draft a little bit later.
Okay. Yeah, but they need to get a linebacker.
DJ Kuiper.
They need one of them linebackers that'll take your milk and cookies.
Yeah, they need a linebacker.
Because the Browns don't really have that dude on their defense.
Maybe a guy like Eichenberg. You know, Ed, you like Eichenberg.
Yeah, I like him. Actually, he's a very solid guy. He's a sure tackler. He wouldn't be bad.
That's what we need is somebody in the middle. Yeah. You know, you don't necessarily need a guy that can fly sideline to sideline.
No, he just makes the tackles in the middle of the field.
A guy that can wrap shit up and make sure guys are in the right spot.
Yes. Also, I forgot with the Lions in San Francisco.
Yes.
I just feel that the Lions, if they keep it close in the fourth quarter, I think they
the
can
Niners
pull it
will
out.
crumble.
Yeah,
okay.
I think
they almost did against Green Bay.
Either the Niners will crumble or Dan Campbell will do something like that. Like, oh God, what is you doing?
Because see, the difference is with Detroit, Goff is experienced. Jordan Love, he was playing with house money.
Yeah.
He was playing with house money. They're all young and everything, but Goff is experienced. And if their pass rush don't get to Goff, he gonna pick San Francisco.
So Keith, $1 million question: are you picking the Lions?
Yes, I am.
Whoa!
I'm picking the Lions to win it 27-24.
Whoa! And also even bigger news than that, because Peyton just sent me this. So shout out to Peyton Vince. But breakhead news, and this is how big Peyton is. Tyreek Hill and his ex-wife have divorced 76 days after getting married.
Damn.
No, Tyreek Hill said they're not getting divorced. He said it on Twitter already.
Okay, well, this is what I was saying.
Yeah. This is why Ed does break.
This is the stuff I'm getting during the show.
It's not Pay 10 news. It's break Ed news, not Pay 10 news.
No, this is what I got. So shout out to Peyton.
That's wrong. I just saw that too on Twitter.
Yeah, okay, well, I had to give him his props.
Bucks fucking fired that guy today.
Griffin.
Yeah,
we have not talked about the NBA.
But, okay, here's what we're gonna do.
We gotta talk about the NBA.
Sean got a comment too.
Tell me who this is. Tell me who this is. And we're gonna talk to NBA.
Sean Hall.
That's
Sean Hall.
Sean Hall.
Cavs are playing good ball right now. However, it's interesting to see if they can keep up with that tempo despite where Garland and Mobley gets back. For now, they should let Garland come off the bench. And in the playoffs, it's a different beast. But they have to keep playing with that same tempo with more adjustments into the playoffs. I
got an idea who should be coming off the bench.
Well, you know what's funny? I would shout out to Sean for his comment because in the great debate, that was actually one of my questions: were the Cavs better without Mobley and Garland?
They can't him and Allen can't play together. I think that's what we're seeing, and we've seen like Mobley shine without Allen, and I went to that game a couple 2 weeks. Allen, he's quiet. He's so you look up and the guy's got 20 and 15. Like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And I know Mobley's got more upside. I do. But I don't think Mobley's gonna be what everybody thinks he's gonna be. He can't shoot.
Yeah.
So you got two guys clogging the middle and you gotta make a decision between one and two. I know at the end of the day they're gonna choose Evan Mobley over Jared Allen, but I feel like Evan Mobley's best. I feel like he's gonna be Jared Allen.
Jared Allen moves without the ball. People think you have to have the ball to be a good basketball player, and I always tell my son this too. You can move without the ball and be part of the offense and actually be better for that.
Well, when they're in there together, it clogs the lane for Mitchell and Garland, and so much is stressed with everything open. Now you're seeing, the minivan go ape shit for the first time. George Niang's out there getting buckets. Strus, You're seeing the shooters around really start to come out and blossom since Mobley's gone down because there's space for the first time.
Yeah.
There's no space when they're out there together. You just clog the middle. And it's just, it's a shitty situation because they're playing so great. And, they're not going to move off of either one of them. But I feel like when they come back and people are going to point to it and try to, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
In today's NBA with the way things are set up.
They play better team ball, like you said, with the spacing they're getting on the floor and Strus and Ning playing good. It's like it's fun to watch them play, and it's like I feel like you're getting these stars coming back, and it's actually going to make us worse. I feel.
Yeah. And they play with more urgency when Donovan Mitchell was at the helm. It's like a whole different mentality. Nothing against Garland, but it was kind of like they was just like out there just.
Well, here's the thing about Mitchell. When he's the one driving the bus, it's because he can just go get a basket at will. Darius Garland cannot do that. And I don't want to make it like a Garland Sexton thing, but I knew, it's kind of like I knew the writing was on the ball. Well, Sexton was going to be out. That was Garland's team. But I love that, like, fourth quarter, final 2 minutes, Colin Sexton can go get his own shot whenever he wants.
PJ, would the Cavs be better off if they would have kept Sexton, have him come off the bench with Mitchell starting and not have Garland? Would they be better?
Yeah. I think like that's as a fit, yes. But like, is Garland better?
No, I'm not. Right, exactly.
I just what I mean? Like, absolutely. I don't want people to think I think Garland isn't
right.
Like, I think Garland's amazing, but like he's a point guard. He's a true point guard. He needs the ball in his hand to create action. But like when you got a guy that's Darius or Donovan Mitchell, like Donovan Mitchell needs the ball.
Yes.
Like, give him the ball. Like, what are we doing? Yes. Get out of the way. And that's what I said. Sean, I think that's Sean probably.
We talked about that on Locked On Sports too.
I've been fighting this one and fighting. I've been the guy carrying the flag. Evan Mobley cannot shoot.
And that's the Achilles heel right there. Yeah.
For so long. Like, and I think people see like this long, skinny guy and they think he's gonna turn into Kevin Durant. He's not.
He's not. You can tell because even when Jared Allen shoots a 15-footer, it's more natural coming out of Jared Allen's hands. Where Mobley, it just looks forced.
That broke-ass jump shot.
So, CJ, you're telling me that if Evan Mobley was a shooter, then John Lennon would have been making more songs than to this day?
We'd be hearing John Lennon. And he can't shoot. And I think Evan Mobley, very talented guy. But I think at his best, he's going to go put up Jared Allen numbers.
It seems so forced. Like it's like pulling teeth. It seems where Allen is like Keith to Keith's point. Like Allen, you look up and CJ were saying, you look up, he's got 20 and whatever like that, and it's so effortless that you don't even notice. With Mobley, it seems like every time it's just like I don't. It's such a grind.
I go back to that when I was at the Wizards game. I was like, my brother was like, Jared Allen's he's going to get 20 and 20. Like, he's not going to get 20 and 20. When I looked over, I was like, dude, Jared Allen's got 20-17. He's done for the game. And it's like, it's on a day's work. And even when we go back to when they did the play-in, I think that was I don't think that was on Mobley. Mobley, this is his third year? When they were in the play-in, Mobley rookie? Was that his rookie year?
This is third year.
When Jared Allen went down and we had to do the play-in tournament or whatever, like we were a completely different team. Like when he got hurt. Like Jared Allen.
Oh, yeah.
When Jared Allen is not on the floor, it is the worst team. He is.
Yes.
When he's on the floor and he's in the lineup, the Cleveland Cavaliers they're just good. They're so much better. He's an X factor, and he's a quiet guy, and he's just if he goes to a place where let's say like they're like, all right, we're gonna blow this thing up. They trade like Dallas. Like Dallas is a title contender, like legit title contender with Jared Allen, Luka, and Kyrie. He's a missing piece. So many teams would kill to have a Jared Allen.
True.
We're like Evan Mobley's got to be over him. Evan Mobley's 22. Jared Allen's 25.
It's not like he's some old guy, right?
It feels like he's been in the league
25
forever.
years old.
He's 25. I just, that was an all-star 2 years ago. And, I shit on Jared Allen a lot. I don't bet on him anymore because of the fact that like he's burning.
But if you did, you use my bookie.
Yeah, I use my bookie.
Right.
And I would hear from Uncle Joe's black bookie.
Right.
But he's so just he gets the job done, and there's nothing sexy about his game.
He just does what he does.
I don't.
He just does what he does. But people see Mobley and they want Mobley to be, they think he's going to be like Kevin Durant. He's this long, skinny guy. They think he's going to be like Porzingis or he's going to be like Chet. He's not. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yes. Yes, Sean, you're right.
Mobley's that sexy car that's supposed to, but you know what it is? It doesn't run properly. It's clunky.
Jared Allen, Jared Allen's a pickup truck.
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah, Jared Allen's a pickup truck, man. He's just gonna go get it done every night.
Because honestly, I think the offense won't suffer even when Garland returns. But when Mobley returns, that's when everything's going to get clogged up. Yeah,
I think the Thompson thing too, as goofy as it sounds, I think Thompson's going to be a loss. Like losing Tristan. Like Tristan Thompson's been a guy. He goes out there and he looks good with him on the floor. He's been able to
25
give us some
games.
minutes.
Well, he'll have more
Yeah.
time to, do what he does in his personal life.
Shit, I'll say this: if I'm Tristan Thompson, man, those steroids might have been worth it because he's came back and
Yeah, I agree.
he's looking like an NBA player.
I know.
Yes.
Shit, sometimes you gotta do it.
The Caps told him, "Hey, keep taking them, and we'll see you in the playoffs."
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yes.
I'm not saying that. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say the Cavs do anything about it. But let's be real. Before we get,
I'm just saying that he, dude was out of the league last year.
I know, and now he comes in and he was. I mean,
he's playing good ball.
Yeah. So it just.
I think the Cavs are interesting. The Bucks thing caught me so off guard.
Right. I come
Yeah,
home.
go ahead and talk about that. To me,
I'm not
their
really
defense. Their
seeing
defense was
about-
lacking, though. Their defense.
They said he lost the locker room.
Okay.
That was the thing.
Oh,
Okay.
And
He
I think the Bucks
basically
moved
lost
off Bud
Giannis.
last year. Yeah,
that's.
it's weird because they moved. I think they moved off Bud last year. It's his first year.
Yeah.
But to move off Budenholzer like that and to be like,
And get the Griffin and then
get
fire
the
him that
Griffin,
quick.
yeah.
He gets that
You know,
Kardashian.
I don't
Ryan
know.
Hall.
I don't know if
Yeah.
Doc is. That's the guy they're talking about. Is Doc coming in? I don't think Doc fixes problems.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well get
No.
Doc Gooden. Get Doc
What
Gooden.
they don't
instead.
realize is you gained scoring with Damian Lillard, but you lost on defense because Holiday was a stud defensively. And Lillard ain't going to fight through those screens all like that.
He's out there to score.
Yeah, he's a better scorer. So,
I listen. I think the NBA, now is when the NBA starts to get more interesting. I think that first
You
month
see,
or two of the season-
trade deadline's coming. Well, not coming, but pretty soon.
February 8th.
Yeah. What did you see any major moves? I saw Miami got Rozier, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rozier for Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Somebody said
in a first rounder in 2027.
One of the guys, I can't remember who said it. They tweeted out the Lakers are trying to trade for Donovan Mitchell or Trae Young. And I'm just like, they can try all they want. They're not going to do it.
Just speaking of Sean, I don't think he can. I don't think he can. So can he appeal? I don't think so. From what I was reading, I don't think that's come. I don't know if it's in the collective bargaining thing, but I don't think it's something that he's going to exercise. I think he's going to serve his 25 games from what I've heard lately. But
damn.
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Dude was balling out.
Wow, 3.8. Hey, he was balling out with 3.8 points a game. So let's go, Caps. But rebounding machine.
He was a physical presence too.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need that extra 10 to fit. You know
well,
what I'm saying?
He's a vet. You know what I mean? We're still a young team. He's a vet. Yeah. That's the point of having Robin Lopez out there last year at times. Yeah. He's a veteran. You need a vet.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we've nailed the NBA here. I got something for you guys, and I thought we
were gonna do Ohio State and Bill Bryant.
We're gonna talk about that, but before I get into that, I got one hockey tidbit for you guys.
Brother.
The Columbus Blue Jackets host the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers have won 13 straight games. I think it's no coincidence that the Edmonton Oilers are winners, like somebody that is the host of the We Like Sportz Show. Maybe it has something.
Was that worth it? Was that worth it?
You got your Gretzky jersey?
I
or
don't.
Your Guy Curry jersey?
No, I didn't. No, but I will say one thing. Hey, oh my God. Edmonton, go Oilers! All right. Well, now we'll go into the Ohio State Buckeyes, NIL, college football, and the landscape that is. Obviously, the Buckeyes have gotten.
So give me what's going on with Ohio State. How you feel? I need a Buckeye fan.
I feel great about Ohio State. Here's why, CJ, because this Michigan thing. Okay, they win the national title. Okay, congratulations, you cheated. You got your title. Okay, fine. But now it lit a fire.
They all cheat.
Ass of the Ohio State University. We got Bill O'Brien. We got.
I love how you just said that. I keep going. I love that.
Yeah.
How you just phrased that.
$13 million. We're just throwing money. We're printing money. Bucks. You get a buck. You get a buck. You get money. You get NIL. You get NIL. Because you know what? We got 5 stars coming in every day, and they're not all going to stay, and it doesn't really matter. We got Will Howard coming in to play quarterback this year. With that same kid from Alabama or Aaron Nolan. They're both 5 stars. They'll figure it out after next year. The Buckeyes, you know what? They're not messing around. They won the first college football playoff when it went to 4 teams or whatever. They got 12 teams this year. I could see them winning it this year. It's what Ohio State does. We're pioneers. We get it done, and they're spending money finally. Like, you know what? We're the New York Yankees of college football. We should spend the most money because you look at the TV views. So go Bucks.
Ed, can I say something?
Yep, go ahead.
They may be the New York Yankees of college football, but they still got an Aaron Boone managing them.
Stop. Stop.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I like how you phrased it. You said this was a
damn it, Keith. You might be right, but we'll find out one more year.
So many people are giving like Ryan Day credit for all this, like going out and spending. Like, this ain't Ryan Day. This is if you go lose when Oregon, you lose to Oregon, and Michigan, like, so you getting shit canned. This is it for him, right?
Ryan Day
is
has
it
to
natty
beat
or is it natty or bust? So if he beats Michigan and let's say they lose their playoff game, is he fired?
No.
If he beats Michigan and they don't, if he loses to Michigan, is he fired?
Yes.
No matter what he does in the
national
playoff.
championship.
No, if he wins the national,
he'd have to win the national. He'd have to win the natty or go to the natty.
He'd have to go to the natty.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think.
What if he loses to Michigan and Oregon and goes to the natty? Is he fired?
No.
No.
You know why I say that?
If he goes to the national championship, he's safe. I think he's got to win it. I think he's going to win that.
You got to win it because you got to look at it now.
It depends if it's a close game. I mean, I don't know.
I think he's got to beat Michigan and win a national title.
Because he went to the natty against Alabama, got beat 52-24.
I do think though. Yeah, I do think. Yeah, it depends on how it looks in the play. But I will say he's got to beat Michigan.
I agree. He will too.
And
Michigan's losing Harbaugh. They're losing McCartney.
Moore's gonna stay. And I think
Crybaby?
Yeah, the crybaby guy that beat him. And I think Orgy's way better than McCarthy. I think Alex Orgy's way better than McCarthy. I think McCarthy is fucking. Listen, man, when you don't throw the ball against Penn State, that's telling you something. I do think Michigan's losing other key pieces. Like
they're deep.
Big loss. I think the one wide receiver I'm blanking on. I think they're not Will Johnson. Will Johnson's the DB. The one wide receiver they got. I'm blanking on him.
The one that was talking shit about Ohio State.
Yeah,
I know.
Good. But I think Ohio State bringing in Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs is a fucking beast. His family holds a grudge.
Now you're talking sexy, CJ.
His family holds a grudge like no other. His dad out there is still upset that Kirby Smart didn't offer Josh Downs. Is beyond me. But I know Ohio State offered more money.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. But I do think not sold on Will Howard, man. Not sold on Will Howard. I love Judkins.
Either.
I think Judkins is a fucking monster.
Him and Travion, best back.
But I think it could be a lot like it could be a lot like last year. I don't know how much of an upgrade Will Howard is on Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord's a better thrower, but Howard's a better runner. Yeah. But Howard's not like
I know.
Howard's not like Fields. He's more like a JT Barrett. And I thought
I can live with that. I can live with that.
He's a guy that's gonna be like power run. He's not gonna beat you. He's not gonna beat you with
just run. It's college, but run. I miss Urban Meyer running the quarterbacks to death. I miss that now.
I don't know if that's Ryan. I know that's not Bill O'Brien's style.
Yeah, I know he doesn't do. But he doesn't do those wide receiver bubble screens.
Bill O'Brien has spent more time with Nick Saban and Bill Belichick and never won a Super Bowl or a Natty. Never. He's been with them, I think, like 7 years. No championship.
I want the audience to know that CJ is a Georgia Bulldogs fan and he's just trying to rain on our parade.
I'm not. I love what they're doing on defense. I love that they're going out and getting guys.
Yeah.
But like, I still think you're not going to sell me on Will Howard leaving Kansas State to, I think they were better. If they had Cam Ward, I'd feel better.
I'd feel a lot better. He's going to the NFL, though. I don't know why.
No, he's going to Miami.
Okay. Going to Miami.
He's going to Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Cam Ward. If you had Cam Ward, I feel a lot better. If you had, even if you had, like, I'm trying to think of somebody else. If you had DJ, I feel better. I just don't think Will Howard is.
So how do you think that Cam Ward thing worked? Because he said that he might go to the NFL. Do you think Miami said, okay, here's more money, go to Miami? Like, how do you think that
he got his draft grade? And
yeah, I wondered if it was the money, the draft grade, or what it was.
I think both of them played a factor. I think that like when he was like announced that he was going to, I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
That's what
like,
I thought.
I like Cam Ward, but this class is, and the COVID year has made the draft really weird.
Yeah.
I've a couple months ago when we started, I started coming back on. I talked about how much I love this class, and I think there's like 3 guys at the top, and I think the rest of them suck. I think guys like Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, like they're gonna get coaches fired. I just can't I think there's a couple guys that'll be like good backups. I think Bo Nix will be in the league forever. I think
I think Penix
Sam
is better
Hartman.
than Tua. I think Penix is a better
I
Tua.
think Penix fucking sucks.
I don't think.
I think he sucks.
Okay.
I think the thing with Penix is
He
wasn't used to pressure. He wasn't used to that
Yeah,
pressure.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're a quarterback and like, pressure's his problem. It's like,
Well, because if you're not used to seeing it all year,
I just think he's so sloppy. Like watching him play quarterback.
So is Tua. I think Tua's that way.
Yeah. There's another guy I like that's a backup. I can't think of his name. I think Michael Pratt from Tulane. I think he'll be like a backup for a while. But like, I think it's Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and Caleb Williams. I fucking think they're all going to be studs.
Oh,
like I'm not necessarily saying day one. People are starting to overthink this Caleb Williams thing, right? And I know like we do it because the draft's so far. Like the longer it goes on, the
he's
more
a stud, and he should go number
I
one.
heard somebody be like, they were like, oh yeah, but like put him on a bad team. It's like, dude, USC was dog shit, and he was the best player on the field by a mile.
Right.
Like,
they ain't have no. Check out, they ain't have no line. No defense was terrible.
No run game. I was like, he's still the best guy on the field by a mile. I think the more I've seen of Drake May, the more I'm like, this dude's like Josh Allen, but like better coming out of like college. Like Drake May's better than Josh Allen.
So Drake May won't be like
more refined.
Jaden Daniels is a beast. I love.
I think so too. I like.
I've been on the Jaden Daniels train for a while.
They got the Commanders taking Daniels.
Yeah.
In the mock draft, they got the Commanders taking Daniels.
I think this first round. And listen, I'm Marv. Your boy Maserati Marv.
Yeah.
He's great, but I think Malik Neighbors is just as good.
People have said that.
You watch some of those LSU games, and he's a guy. One of the guys that he's got like a second round grade, but like not in the range of the Browns, like late first, early second, is the number 2 from Brian Thomas, is another receiver. Fucking insane. Like those boys from LSU. And then you got Keenan Coleman, you got the big guy. There's that 6'7" dude from Florida State. With a lot of wide receivers in the draft. This is a good draft.
The Brown scouts got to go to work.
Yeah.
That's absolutely.
You got Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
I saw a mock that had Atlanta taking him. Could you imagine if Bill Belichick went to Atlanta and had Kyle Pitts, Brock Bowers, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson?
Ooh. And got a quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be. Well, we got a couple more minutes, about 2.5 minutes left in the show. Is there anything that you guys want to hit on real quick? Oh, I know. Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble. I know this isn't Keith's forte per se, but CJ,
we did with the Netflix deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 10 years, $5 billion.
How about a return on investment? They paid $14 billion for the company. They already made $5.
Yeah. Life is changing. Life is streaming. That's just the way it is.
I'm not big on Netflix, but like I was telling my brother that I was like Netflix. If like it was like pick one streaming service,
that would be the one.
I was like Netflix would be it.
Netflix and chill with CJ and Raw. Yeah.
Raw.
So who's winning the Royal Rumble then, CJ?
I'm gonna say Punk.
I'm kind of thinking that, especially after last night.
Yeah, let's not overthink it.
Yeah.
Who would I like to see win it is Gunther. I like to see Gunther win the Rumble. But like let's not overthink it, man. Punk, Seth Mania.
I totally agree with that. So we knocked that out. I put that in the description of the show, so we have to mention it. So just doing my due diligence there. So anything else you guys want to, let's just go around the horn. CJ, final thoughts. Go ahead.
No, somebody else go first. I was gonna go first. You go first.
Keith, go ahead. Final thoughts.
It's gonna be Golden State basketball.
No,
actually, I gotta tell you this. I'm at Target and I see this dude in a Cleveland State basketball, and he's like fucking 6'5". I was like, he's huge guy.
I can't hear you.
AirPod just started to switch.
Okay.
Oh, okay, you're good.
My AirPod just started to switch.
Oh, okay, you're good.
My AirPod died. I see this guy. The first thing I think of is Keith. I'm like, God, we got to get him on the show. Find him at Target. I just want to be like, I'm really like sports show. Talk to some Keith State basketball.
Yes, sir. Actually, the men and the women is doing a thing too. The women are doing a thing. But what I wanted to say is, far as with the Browns, be prepared. They're gonna shock the world and do something. Far as with the offensive coordinator position and the running back coach, because he looked like Deuce Staley was a shoe-in, but not so fast.
Yeah, I think my little free whatever. Baseball Hall of Fame, Todd Helton, Joe Mauer, Adrian Beltre. Got in no Gary Sheffield.
I know.
I think that is a travesty.
I agree.
Who all got in again?
Todd Helton,
Beltre, and Joe Mauer.
They might as well let the steroid dudes go in.
But that's very good. I think we need to reach a point where, like, we're going to try to tell, because that's what a museum is. We're telling a story of baseball without Alex Rodriguez, without,
it's stupid.
Manny Ramirez. I think this is just the most ridiculous. My brother brought up Billy Wagner. He's been arguing about Billy Wagner. I was like, at no point was Billy Wagner the most dominant reliever in baseball.
Like, lefty coming out for the Astros.
I was like, he was like, we had back-to-back 50 saves. I was like, yeah, Eddie Gordado had 50 save seasons every day, Eddie. I was like, I think we're reaching a point where now, like, if this is where we're going to be,
ridiculous, then
we need to adjust the criteria for dudes that we know or at least were shown to be clean. Like, those guys need to get in. And a Gary Sheffield and an Andrew Jones and Billy Wagner, like, all right, let's, lower the bar for some of them.
Well, you know what that means next year then. Derek Jeter getting in.
Oh, yeah. Derek Jeter getting in.
The captain, Derek Jeter.
Yes, sir.
Oh. I don't know. I always say this about the Baseball Hall of Fame. Here's the thing: they want to talk about steroids. Everybody was taking the steroids, even the pitchers, and a lot of these players that got in back in the day, they didn't let black people play. You know what I'm saying? So you want to talk about things that going against. It's like, how do we know this player was really a Hall of Famer if he would have been going up against, I don't know, black people that were maybe better than them? So I don't know. That's my thing on the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's like it's ridiculous.
And think about it. You got Manny Ramirez that probably should get in.
Yep.
You got Bonds. You got Clemens.
Got a lot of guys, and we're just And
Kenny Lofton should be a Hall of Famer for God's sake.
And the one out of all of them is Charlie Hustle. He should get in.
Pete Rose. Put him in.
Because his stuff as a player, he was a dog.
Omar Vizquel should be in. You can't argue that one, CJ.
No, he's an accumulator. He played forever.
He had like 11, 12 gold gloves.
He still doesn't have 3,000 hits.
He was on.
He was
on par to get in until he started slapping them females.
There's a couple things that I look at. When I look at for a Hall of Famer, I look at three things. There's three automatic. Bobby Abreu is a Hall of Famer to me because he meets my criteria. Bobby Abreu, 3,000 hits. I don't think he's got that though.
No, I don't.
3,000 hits, 500 home runs, or do you have a career WAR higher than 60?
Okay.
You have a career WAR higher than 60. I automatically think you're a Hall.
Okay, fair enough.
For saves, it's probably I don't know. There's like a number, but
300-400.
I just, to me, for closers, it's like, all right, this guy was the most dominant.
Right. I think I agree. Like Mariano Rivera.
I think Kimbrel and Kenley Jansen are Hall of Fame.
Yes.
They were the most dominant.
Bob Wickman, no Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no. The Wick was lit, but no.
Wiki time.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
No, Cody Allen's not a Hall of Fame.
No.
He should have been a World Series champion.
He should have been.
Everybody
likes to play with toys, though. And it leads to I don't know, and because there's guys, right? You can tell me Billy Wagner was the most dominant closer for a 2-year stretch, right? Or a 4 or 5 year stretch.
Eric Gagne.
Corey Kluber was the most dominant pitcher in baseball for 4 or 5 years. He's
not
a Hall of Famer.
But you're not going to consider him a Hall of Famer.
You know what I mean? He's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
To me, it's an established, you got to sound confused about whether a guy's a Hall of Famer. He's probably not a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Is Casey a Hall of Famer? I know Casey's not with us tonight. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Hall very good.
You think? I know what I think he's doing tonight. I think Casey is in Tampa, because their season's over. I think he's at some mall somewhere signing autographs as Baker
Congrats to Baker
Mayfield.
Mayfield.
So that's. But I want to say this too. Everybody, check me out. Check me out tomorrow. I will be a guest on the Dog Chug, so check me out there. And then on next Tuesday, because we'll be back next Tuesday, but also Tuesday later that night, I'm doing double duty. I will be on the Bougie Sports Network with the Squad Pod with Yvette, Lana, and Lysandra. So doing my thing there with the ladies. So hey now. So we're doing that. So check out Ed in Columbus, and I'm just doing my thing. And Keith, Locked On Sports 216. Tell the peeps.
Yes, Locked On Sports 216 will be coming on Thursday at 6 p.m. We're going to talk about the Browns, the Cavs, a little bit of Cleveland State.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the Guardians. Because the Guardians had their winter fest over the past weekend.
Yeah.
Josh Naylor left off top 10 first baseman list. That upset me.
Okay, that's fair.
Brandon Belt was number 8. Brandon Belt hit like 2.
Would you fight somebody in the parking lot if they said he's number 11?
No, because he should have been like number 7 at least.
Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for tuning into this spirited, fun show. Like I said, we kicked it off with some 49ers talking, and shout out to our good friend Ted Talks Ball. He can talk, and he knows his 49ers.
He can talk ball.
Yeah, he can talk, and he does. And, well, his team's got winning, so he has a lot of good talking to do, and we unfortunately don't. But we do bring the fun with the We Like Sportz Show, and we do it every week, and we will be back next Tuesday at, I believe, 5:30. And if anything changes, we'll let you know on X. We'll do that. So check out everybody. It's been a fun show. Thank you to my guys, Keith and CJ, as always. Another fun, great debate will be next week as well. So everybody enjoy sports. We like sports. We like you. Glad you tuned in, and see you next week. Peace. Throw them up, y'all. Throw them up. That's right. It never gets old.